evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of What's Up, Cuz. Tonight, it's a special 1 hour NCAA basketball championship edition of What's Up, Cuz, as my cousin Lance Irvin and myself, Jason Palmer, will get you ready for tonight's men's championship game after last night's women's championship game, which saw the South Carolina Gamecocks win their second national title under the leadership of Coach Dawn Stanley. Cuz, how are you? How's your going?
I'm doing great, cuz. During this time of the year, I'm always feeling great because it's about that time. We're going to crown the national basketball champion tonight. And are you okay?
I am. And thank you for asking. Last week's show, we had to cancel it at the last minute. I was not feeling well.
I'm ready to do the show. I'm texting you like, where you at? Then you jump on our show right now with a white T-shirt on. What happened to the dress code? Well, I mean, what are we doing here? What are we doing? As a matter of fact, let me start texting people and tell them you have on a T-shirt.
Jason, dress code coming from the guy that doesn't want to wear a suit on the sideline.
Everybody thinks you have all the jerseys. You didn't dress up tonight, so let me start texting people. Let me call Nick.
First of all, I'm feeling better. Thank you very much. We've been wearing a mask for the last 3 years because of the pandemic. So the good thing was that you never caught a cold. And now, we taking off masks, and first thing happens is I get a damn cold. So I'm not feeling well.
That has nothing to do with your white T-shirt on, though. You have on a white T-shirt. Explain that to me while I text and call the Irvin family. Tell them you're on the show with a white T-shirt on.
So the reason why I'm wearing a basic white T-shirt today is because baseball season starts on Friday, and I'm representing the White Sox.
Sooty, call him. He's representing the White Sox. It's a ball game about to come on in an hour and a half, and he's representing the White Sox with a white T-shirt on. That's a lame excuse. All the jerseys this man had. You can't tell me you don't have a college jersey. You cannot tell me that. Or a Mac Irvin Fire AAU top like I have on. You have something.
See that? I have that Mac Irvin Fire same top that you're wearing too. And had someone called me and we could have coordinated and wore it. So yes, I'm wearing a basic white tee, but brothers be at the park all the time in a white tee. So there we go.
If you're gonna have your white tee on, you gotta have some drip with it though. You gotta put some little drip on with it.
The only thing dripping is my eyes because I still suffering from this damn cold. But
why you didn't say that? We could have called your other cousin Nick. Nick probably lurking in the shadows somewhere. Where's Nicholas Irvin at? He wanted to tell me
a lot better.
He wanted to tell me, Jason, I told you and Jason North Carolina was gonna do this. I told y'all Arizona was gonna lose. That's the type of calls I was getting.
I know. Well, here's the thing, Lance, and we said it. Everybody's bracket got busted. Now, you may have wound up with North Carolina and Kansas in the finals. I think a lot of people did that. But along the way, there was a lot of buckets, a lot of brackets that got busted. Mine was just through. I did not have these two in the national championship game. And, we're going to talk a lot about the tournament tonight, the women's and the men's tournament. And so let me just ask you right off the bat. Tonight's final, Kansas and North Carolina, true blue bloods, noted programs. After we've seen a lot of upsets in recent years, we've got two traditional teams. What do you think that's going to mean for tonight's final, Lance?
You know what? I think it means a little bit more when you have two blue bloods playing in the national championship game tonight. Because over the past couple of years, Jason, right, you always had a team that wasn't a blue blood playing. But to put it to facts right now, it doesn't get better than North Carolina, Kansas. If you love your history, those are programs that's been winning year after year. They have iconic coaches. Bill Self is an iconic coach. Dean Smith was, but Hubert Davis is in the seat. And it's tough for us to get a job like that, African Americans. So I'm happy that Hubert Davis has the opportunity to coach in a game like this. And at the end of the day, I think they almost like neck and neck with the amount of wins over time. But I'm pulling for Hubert Davis tonight, Jason.
Okay.
I gotta go with Hubert Davis for a couple of reasons. First, I'm happy for him. I think he's doing an excellent job coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And then too, Jay, like I would love for African American coach to win. We've been far and few. We haven't had these opportunities. And I think if Hubert does win, then that's another notch in the belt. Because far too long, we haven't been able to get the opportunity to coach in these games. So I'm interested to see what Hubert could do. I love Coach Self, but I'm pulling for Hubert tonight for sentimental reasons.
For sentimental reasons. Okay, well, that makes sense. I think, tonight's matchup is, I can tell you who the real happy winner in this whole thing. It ain't North Carolina or it ain't Kansas. It's CBS. Right now, CBS is happy as they can be. They're like, we're going to get some ratings tonight, boy. We'll be watching this game.
Hey, Jay, like I was in New Orleans for a day. I got in and out, right? So I had to take a couple of cabs, right? If you would have saw the town and how the people in the city were acting, like I had two different cab drivers said, they asked me what did I do for a living. I told them I used to coach, blah, blah. They was like, coach.
What's up, cuz? Oh, Jesus.
Oh, man. Hey, Jay, they were like, for us to get blue bloods that travel well, North Carolina, Kansas, Villanova, and Duke, they said, you don't know what this does for our city, how much money the city would make. There's one cab driver said, Coach, from the pandemic and everything else, we had been down for like a couple of months. Then they just had a tornado or hurricane. I can't remember. He said, so we've been down. He said, but now I'm booked. He said he was booked, Jason. This was like on maybe Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember which day. He said, I'm booked all the way until Monday night. I was so happy for him. I didn't know what to do. He was like, I might have to turn it in at 10. He should have asked for one. I probably could have found the one. He was like, I might turn it in at 10 a.m. because I got to be up at 6 o'clock tomorrow, and I'm going all the way through the end of the games. So it was tough. But New Orleans was the big one today. They won.
Yeah, and I'm happy for New Orleans. I'm really happy for New Orleans. That city has been struggling, as a lot of big cities have been during the pandemic. But New Orleans, is a place that really thrives off the tourism industry, and having events like whether it's a Super Bowl, an All-Star game, a Final Four. These things are huge for the New Orleans metropolitan area. The hotel industries, the bars, the restaurants. We know the food is big down there.
Ooh.
So it's really good for them. It's really good for the people who work in those industries. So I am happy that New Orleans is making their money and CBS is going to make their money too, because these ratings are going to be through the roof. But hey, before we get too far into this, let's welcome everyone to What's Up, Cuz. Thank you for tuning in. If you are watching us on our Sports Zone Chicago YouTube channel, we appreciate that. Go ahead and like and subscribe to that. If you're watching us on Facebook, we have a Facebook stream. Go ahead and send us your comments. Tell us hello. Tell us you guys stink. Do whatever. Just don't Will Smith us. We'll get better. But we appreciate that. And if you're watching us on that Sports Zone Chicago app, where you have access to all the shows here on Sports Zone Chicago, really appreciate that. Lance, tell them where they can download that app if they don't have it.
The iTunes store, the Google store, and the Amazon store. Please download the app. Please subscribe. Please like. I've been crushing Jason in the jump balls and everything. Him and Irvin, they try to tag team me, and I kill those two each week. So please subscribe and watch the show. Why are you laughing, Jason? Last time I gave it to you, Ivan.
I like how these stats just come out of nowhere.
Ivan.
Mythical stats.
I see there they go again, trying to double team me. But that's all right, though. That's fine.
Oh, what can I say?
Anyway. You're just mad because you picked Arizona, Jason.
I did. Well, you know what? In all fairness, and let's review the tournament. So I have my completely busted bracket here in front of me, and so I had Arizona and Gonzaga in the championship. That did not happen. As a matter of fact, I had in the Final Four Purdue, Arizona, Gonzaga, and Kansas. So I am shooting 25% from the field, Lance Irvin, with just the Final Four picks. What did you even have in the Final Four?
I had Gonzaga, Arizona, Purdue, and Auburn.
So you went 0 from the floor.
I went 0 from the floor.
So as my wife has told me, none of us know what we're talking about, and she's vowed that next year she's doing her own bracket because she thinks she can do better than all of us who have media platforms because we're always wrong.
You know what? We're not always wrong. We just sometimes we overthink things. But Jay, Purdue, they had a great team. Like,
Yes.
and I said from day one, I thought they were a Final Four team. They had a
Mm-hmm.
Final Four team. They just got caught up with a bad matchup. Like they couldn't just man, they played bad at the wrong time. And not All American was Jaden Ivey. He's really, really good. He's had a bad game at the wrong time. So anytime in a tournament
Mm-hmm.
you could get got. It's just who's playing well at the right time. And right now, I mean, I don't think a lot of people, other than the people from Carolina, picked Carolina to play in the
This is
Final
true.
Four. They got
This is
hot
true.
at the right time. RJ Davis is playing great. Caleb Love, who is playing lights out. He had like 30 points the other night. And Baycott has been a monster. Anytime you averaging a double-double in the tournament, night in and night out, I mean, you doing something. So with that being said, though, Hubert Davis has been pressing the right buttons, and they got hot at the right time.
Yeah, he definitely has. And we see this often in this tournament where it's about the team that's hot at that time, and then some teams are just they really do well in this tournament setting where it's just unlike the NBA where you have a series. You're
Mm-hmm.
playing best 4 out of 7 or 3 out of 5 or whatever. Not in this. It's one and done. You either win or you go home. So you have a bad night shooting, that's your season. And I think that's what generates so much of the excitement. It's well known. I prefer the college basketball game to the pro
Mm-hmm.
one. Always have. And I think it's because of the excitement of you never know what's going to happen. I love seeing the upsets. I love seeing what St. Peter's did. I love seeing what the University of Miami did. And if you haven't seen our interview with Charlie Moore, go back and check out our Charlie Moore interview as well. It just brings a level of excitement, and it brings in people from all over the country because not every city has an NBA franchise, Lance.
True.
But
True.
when you're talking 60, what is it, 68 teams now to get in, something like that.
68. Mm-hmm.
You got 68 teams now. You're getting small towns that nobody ever heard of. Now they're on the big world stage. It just is a really, really cool event. It's nothing like the college NCAA men's and women's tournaments where so many different communities can get representation. And I'm really excited about tonight's game. Kansas has never been one of my favorite schools. That's one of those schools I tend to pull against. I can't lie. North Carolina is one I tend to like. So I'm going to pull for North Carolina tonight as well. I don't necessarily think they're going to win, and we'll get into that during the jump ball, but I'm going to pull for North Carolina tonight. And it should be good. Let's talk about the Final Four matchup with North Carolina. They played against Duke. Coach Krzyzewski, his team also got hot kind of at the right time because he had a really kind of young team, Lance.
Yeah, he did. His team got hot at the right time. They was playing well down the stretch. And I think when he inserted Roach, he gave Roach the ball, handed him the keys to the car, and he played well. Roach and Williams. I think Williams, everybody talk about Bancaro and those guys and this one, Fleming and everybody else. But I like Williams, Jay. Anytime you're 7 feet, you can handle the ball, you can shoot, and you have an elite skill set, which is he can block shots. So which means he's protecting the basket. He started playing at the right time. And those guys, when you're playing at such a high level day in and day out, they really didn't have a weakness other than sometimes their defense will be a little lax against pick and roll coverage. They was able to really thrive in the tournament. So hats off to Coach K and those guys. They was just a couple of free throws away from maybe playing tonight. But you can't shoot free throws at a clip where they shot them in the Final Four game, and then you can't miss that many threes. So they ran up against, like we said, Carolina, and Carolina just was hot at the right time. And I tell you what Baycott did on the glass was tremendous, Jason. He had like 21 rebounds, 21
Mm-hmm.
boards against
Mm-hmm.
guys that was his size too. So
Mm-hmm.
it was not like he was playing against midgets. And nothing against
Mm-hmm.
midgets, people smaller than him. He was playing against some grown men that's going to get paid at the next level to play. Baycott, Manic, those guys right there, Jay, those some good players. And the one thing I'm thinking about tonight is this. Manic, what will he do tonight? Because he's going to stretch the floor. Who does Kansas have that can really go out and guard him like that? Probably Wilson. They probably put Wilson on him. That's an interesting matchup. But the best matchup is McCormick against Baycott. Can McCormick keep him off the board? Can Baycott keep McCormick off the board? Those are the games within the games tonight that we're going to see. That's going to make it an interesting game tonight.
So, whenever we talk NCAA tournament, especially when we get to the Final Four, what makes the Final Four games always so unique is that they're playing in a dome, not your regular basketball arena. The domes are more spacious. They talk a lot about how the background is different, the shooting background, the noise level is different. And then just like, the Super Bowl, it's a production. The halftime tends to go a little bit longer. It's an event, and it's entertainment in addition to the game as well. My thing is always which teams can also adjust better to that type of circus setting, as you're not only just playing for the national title, but you're doing it with all this pomp and circumstance going on as well, which is why I tend to lean more towards team with more veteran leadership, teams with a little bit more proven track record throughout the history of winning in those big games as well. And also who's healthy. We saw quite handily what happened to Arizona once they started getting key people injured, which is where I think eliminates them more than anything else. When you don't have your star players, even though I do think they have 3 future pro players on their roster. So this is going to be a very interesting game tonight with Kansas and North Carolina. And before we end the show tonight, Lance and I will give you our predictions on who we think will win the game. Another thing I wanted to talk about in terms of the tournament itself, we saw a lot of black coaches succeeding in this tournament. Talk to me a little bit about some of the black coaches you saw that really stood out to you through this 2022 tournament.
I mean, just on the men's side, we had in the Sweet 16, we had Calvin Sampson, Shaheem Holloway, Ed Cooley from Providence. We had Hubert Davis out there. Well, I'm missing one, but we had good representation. And Hubert Davis actually is coaching in the Final Four. So it's good for us. It's good for basketball because so long we had people used to always say we can recruit but not coach. So when we have coaches make it to the Sweet 16, it means a lot. Now Hubert Davis actually has an opportunity to win it all. Because for far too long, Jay, we get to the Final Four, you wouldn't really see none of us. Juwan Howard made it to the Sweet 16. I forgot
He did. He did.
I knew I was missing one. So Juwan Howard made it. So I'm just happy that we see those guys. I think throughout the years, Jay, it's only been like 3 African American coaches that has won the NCAA tournament. My man Shot took him to the cleaners too, Jay. I'm on a group chat with some guys, we all coaches, former head coaches.
Right.
And one of the guys was like, after Shot kept winning, because we said, Shot was gonna probably get the Seton Hall job. We was reading this stuff.
Right.
On a Monday, they was like, this before Shot won, it was like, man, Shot gonna probably get the job. Then when Shot won that Thursday, they was like, Shot, yesterday's prices are not today's prices. So every time he won, Jay, we had a running joke. Yesterday's prices, not today's prices. So he just kept ascending and going up and going up. But Jay, I'm happy for us. And on the women's side, I'm happy for Dawn Staley. I mean, anytime you win 2 national championships, that's shot. Anytime, like Coach Staley, you win 2 national championships out of 5 years. She probably would have won 3 if it wasn't due to COVID, because her team was loaded that year. And Jay, you can sit on the sideline now and wear a $4,300 jacket and $1,000 shoes. That's telling you we have come so far. Hey, I looked at her outfit, Jay. I said, "Okay, Dawn, I know you always wear. She's always trendy. Like her fashion is trendy. Like last week,
that's the picture, though. That's the picture.
Oh, where you get that from, Jay?
Oh, yeah, I got that one. When did I take that picture of Dawn Staley? I took that one about
background.
I think that is Pops Irvin in the back. No, it's not him in the background. But I am wearing the Mac Irvin Fire sweatshirt. That was at an event where Dawn came up here to Chicago to see some players. Our guy from Bowling Green High School, my guy Chris Smith, was there. And he knows that I love Dawn Smith. So let me just put it out there. I put it on my Facebook page. My wife already knows about it. As a young man, very young man in my early 20s, late teens, I was crazy about Dawn Staley. Absolutely crazy. She was like the first female athlete that I was like, this girl can ball. She fine. And then I found out I wasn't alone because there was a whole lot of dudes who was loving Dawn Staley too.
I didn't know you liked Dawn like that. I make sure I tell you a story off the air.
Oh, okay.
She was cool. She was real cool too. I mean, Dawn is great. I mean, my brother Byron really knows her. When she comes, she used to come to the tournaments in Chicago all the time when Max and Corey had a tournament.
Yeah.
So I met her a couple of times. It wasn't like I was kicking it with her for a long time, but I had an opportunity to talk to her. And one time I had Brookie with her, right? And she was so nice. I was talking to her. I said, Brookie, that's Dawn Staley. She played on the Olympic team, I'm just talking. And she was like, is that your daughter? So her and Brooklyn started talking. I mean, she's just an overall good person. And what she's doing on the basketball court, Jay, she's a good coach. She sent out a piece of the net to every coach in Division I or a couple of years ago when they won it. She's always giving to people. So, I mean, she's not only a good coach, she's a good person. And
yeah,
Jay,
she is.
They paying her like she's a good coach and a good person.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. Like she now got she's got the highest women's contract ever, right? Isn't that the one she just signed?
$3 million a year.
There you go.
$3 million a year. So that's why she already was fashion trendy now. That's why you can sit over there with a 4,300 jacket on.
Show the jacket again, Ivan. Because I was looking at that coat. Because, I'm this time I was working, and when I came home, I turned the game on, and I'm like, that's an interesting choice of an outfit. I was like, what's this old footage? I didn't know what was going on, but I'm like, oh.
I'm wrong. The Louis Vuitton patch varsity jacket, $4,850. And the shoes I hear was $1,000.
My God, move the NCAA championship special side out so we can see the shoes.
Those Louis Vuitton 3/4 shoes, Jason. They said those like $1,200. I was like, unbelievable.
Oh, man.
Jay, she has on $6,000 worth of gear.
I ain't mad at you, dog. I ain't mad at you, dog.
And her earrings was glistening. So not only did she win the game. Not only did she win the game, she won the game. She won the fashion part of the game. She was 2 for 2 last night.
Yeah, and she's going to win the recruiting too, because everybody want to play for her. Well, in my interaction with Dawn, when I met her, I got the same thing you got. She's very personable. She's very very knowledgeable, and she will sit there and just kind of talk with you, until, you have to leave until she has to leave. That was what I remember the most about her, and I told her, I really admired you as a player. I love seeing what you're doing now. She's like, thank you. And, we just talked a little bit. We talked some hoops, but she's really down to earth person, and she's also really socially conscious. That's the other thing I need people to know. She's very aware of what's going on in our community and what the players who she's trying to recruit, what they a lot of times are going through. And I think her being relatable like that is what really helps her to bring in some of these athletes. And then, the woman can coach her ass off, man. She can coach. She can flat out coach, man. And I loved her attitude when people were asking her, well, Gina Auriemma is, undefeated in the championship games. And she said, yeah, so am I.
See, Jay, you know what? See, she has point guard swag about her.
Yeah.
She knows how to dress.
Yeah.
If you watch her video, she's doing all the dancing and stuff in the videos. She's wearing the gear the kids like, and she can coach. So she meets them at their level, and then she brings them up another notch. So with that being said, you 1,000% right, Jay. But I gotta tell you, one of your friends tried to holler at her. I'll tell you about that later.
I bet you it was a whole lot of my friends trying to holler at Dawn Staley. Well, and that's the other thing about Dawn's personality. She's got that. People ask me what she's got that. She's like that down home and the black people version girl from next door. You see what I'm saying? Like, she can talk to anybody, women and men. She's the type of female who you can just sit and have a beer with and chill and just talk about anything. She's just got that type of personality, and and she knows sports. Guys, we kind of gravitate to a woman like that who's physically beautiful and likes a lot of the things that we like. So I love Dawn, man. So yeah, it don't surprise me that a whole bunch of people been trying to holler at Dawn. That ain't, and now that she's making $3 million a year, that's probably even more. So congratulations to Dawn, though.
And Jason, we know the AD that hired her at South Carolina, a guy by the name of Eric Hyman, hired her at South Carolina. Maybe one day we can have Eric on the show. He's retired AD. He was the AD of the year back in like 2002, 2003. But he hired her at South Carolina, and he tells a story about it and stuff. So that was a great hire. And Jay, she did her time. She worked at Temple. She did that. She won at Temple. Then she moved up. And prior to her getting there and doing what she's been doing over these last 7, 8, 9 years, nobody was really talking about South Carolina women's basketball. Nobody really.
Nobody. And I got relatives in South Carolina. They want to talk about South Carolina basketball.
They want to talk about it. And they playing in front of sellout crowds. So she basically started from the bottom, like we said. Not that Temple was a bottom school. She started down and she kept rising and rising and rising. Now, see, like they keep talking about dynasty, Jason, her team is very, very good. And the way they stifled UConn yesterday, if it wasn't for Paige Beckers scoring 14 points yesterday and getting some baskets, it would have been a while before UConn scored yesterday. I mean, that defense, Jason, was unbelievable yesterday. And they talked about
and let's say this too about Dawn, Lance. Let's keep it real. People are saying she could actually be like the future Pat Summitt, the future Gino. She's only, in her, she's like maybe 51, 52.
Somewhere in that 53.
Yeah, so let's say she decides she wants to coach another 15 years, and she making $3 million a year, they going to keep re-upping her and she going to keeping competitive teams. So, my question was, did last night's game represent a changing of the guard, so to speak, with Gino now passing that torch over to Dawn? Pat Summitt had it. Gino got it from her. Now Gino's been running with it. Then we had the crazy lady at Baylor, who's now at LSU. That woman get on my nerve. What's her name? Kim Mulkey. Her crazy ass. So then, she got her a couple of championships. But I never felt Mulkey was going to really build like the dynasty because of her personality. I was like, she kind of turned off a lot of people. I can't see a lot of people wanting to go, like with Gino and Pat. People love them and with Dawn, but with Mulkey, it's like, she good, but she kind of crazy. You never know what's going to happen. I wonder if Dawn will go now.
I think Mulkey is real fiery. I had the opportunity to talk to her a couple of times. She's just real fiery, but she knows how to talk that talk too, Jay. and players tend to pretty much like her. They like playing for her, but they know when you go, she's gonna get on you a little bit. And in terms of passing the torch, Gino probably doesn't want to pass the torch just yet.
I know he don't,
because it's tough. But if she wins it again next year, yeah, it's probably going to get passed. Because, like I said, they should have won it in 2020 before COVID. But it's some very good women coaches out there, some very good women teams. But I think Dawn is the next one. If they can keep sustaining, if they could go to another couple of Final Fours in a row, which all indication is they should be there again next year because they have the number one recruiting class in the country. I mean, I don't see them slowing down anytime soon. She has good size. She has veterans coming back. She has guards that can play. Anytime you have a player that transfers from an ACC school, like her those transferred, and you coming off the bench when you was a freshman of the year, you waiting your turn to play. She could have went to any other school. She decided to come to South Carolina and come off the bench, Jay. What does that tell you?
Yeah, that tells you a lot. And we're gonna take a commercial break. We're gonna come back because I want to talk about what Dawn said after the game and the post-game interviews. I thought that was very important as well. So we're gonna talk about that. We're also gonna talk more about this men's game that's coming on tonight. Lance and I are gonna give you our predictions on who we think is going to win tonight's ball game. And I also want Lance to talk about the hiring process for coaches. Lance was down in New Orleans for a day. How they hire coaches has now changed since Lance first got in the game. So he's going to explain a little bit about that because I think that's important information. We're going to take a quick 60-second commercial. We'll be right back. You are watching What's Up, Cuz.
As an Olympic athlete, I prepare for everything. So when I became pregnant, I thought I was ready. But at 32 weeks, I was diagnosed with severe preeclampsia and had an emergency C-section. Looking back, had I known the warning signs, I would have talked to my doctor sooner. Too many women die of pregnancy-related complications, and most are preventable. If you or someone you know is pregnant or recently had a baby, learn the warning signs. It could help save her life. Hear her.
I make my living asking tough questions, so here's a question for you. If you had the power to save a life, would you? I have a chance to survive blood cancer because my big sister answered yes to being my marrow donor. Right now, you can go to bethematch.org and offer a cure to someone with a disease like leukemia. So, what will your answer be?
Welcome back, everybody, to What's Up, Cuz. I'm your host, Jason Palmer, along with my co-host and my cousin, Lance Irvin. We're talking NCAA basketball tonight. It's our championship special. The game tips off just a little bit after 7 o'clock here, Chicago time. I know everyone's getting ready, getting the dinners ready, getting your beer, whatever you're going to use to watch
pizza, your fried chicken. I
need
to go get me a 6-piece white.
Oh, I wish I had known. I'd have had you go give me some. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about Dawn Staley's post-game press conference. And again, we just spoke about how she's very personable and she always seems to say the right thing. What I really respected about her last night when they came to her and, first questions, talk to us about this team, what made it so special. Some of the first people she recognized were her bench players. Not her star players, but she praised her bench players because she said it takes a lot to come into a program like that and be willing to accept a role and understand you're not going to get a lot of playing time at all. You may get a couple minutes here and there, but your main job is to prep our main 7 or 8 players we're going to use to play against our opponent. I thought that I've never heard a coach just come right out in the beginning and talk about their bench players. I thought that was really unique and really special. What were your thoughts on that?
I thought the same because that was the first time I ever heard a coach recognize some of the others, which is people that doesn't play as much. And Jay, people work hard. You don't win a championship. See, sometimes people get it twisted. You don't only win a championship with the 5, 6, 7, 8 you playing. You winning with everybody. You winning with the managers. The managers have a job to do. You winning with the athletic director. And you winning with the other players on the team. Sometimes teams have practice players with maybe you bring in like some walk-ons or whatever. You let them play with the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th man that's not playing a lot. And just to give them a shout out, because I'm imagining the talent that she was putting on the court, those young ladies she was talking about, they're probably some really good players also. So with that being said, in order for South Carolina to keep playing at the pace they played at, they had to have some people who was pushing those starters in practice. They had to, because they didn't miss a beat, Jay. They was always feisty. They was always playing hard. And I was just happy she gave those players some notoriety. Because at the end of the day, Henny probably is going to leave, the little point guard. I think she's a senior. Aaliyah Boston is up there. So now those players that was on the bench that didn't play as much, they're going to have an opportunity to play next year. And they have the number one recruiting class. So now she's setting a tone like, okay, people over here, you playing for the seniors. Not when you come in, I don't know how much you're going to play, but you're going to support the people that I put out there to play. Then when you move up, whoever we bring in, they're going to support you. All she's doing is just reaffirming the culture that she's created in her team.
Is it hard? Is it hard, Lance, to get people to buy into that role? Because let's be honest, if you're a D1 athlete, you're there on a scholarship, you know how to play the sport. You were probably all conference back in high school, all state. I mean, especially if you go into a top program like South Carolina, she getting 4, 5-star recruits.
Exactly.
You know, these people used to playing and being the person on their squad. Is it hard to get people to buy into that role?
You know what? It depends, yes or no. Yes or no, because you have to be able to, you have to understand the coach. You have to understand the program you're playing for, and you have to understand the vision that the coach has for you. And the main thing, Jay, you have to have people in your family, people which in your, I don't know if I want to use the word camp or whatever, that understands the big picture. Because oftentimes you will have some people, Jay, in the background. Oh man, Jason, you only played 10 minutes. You should be playing 20. Oh, Jason, if you would have went to Houston, man, Coach Sampson would have played you 30 minutes. Gino gonna give you 25. The grass is not always greener on the other side. So I think she does a good job managing people expectations, managing their parents and their friend egos, and explaining to them this how we do in South Carolina. And they're winning. So winning helps. But like you said, though, most times, you're gonna have some disgruntled campers in there. Man, and I tell people this: it's good playing with really good players. Then they're not going to key on you as much. So if you're playing with really good players, I'm getting better in practice. I'm winning, and if you believe in yourself, at some point in time, if you work hard, the coach will play you. But these days, sometimes it's like, okay, let's run to the other school because I'm not playing as much.
Yeah.
Man, sometimes just wait your turn. Do your best. Do the best you can do. Then you will play. Like the sky's the limit.
I hear you, but you know, we talk about a generation where patience is not a virtue for them. They ain't trying to do that. They ain't trying to do that. Well, one young lady who I know is out of here is Destiny Henderson. She's like, whoa, you can hear it in her post-game interview. She's like, I'm going to really miss Coach.
She a senior too, Jay. Henny was probably saying, you know, I've been here for some years. Dawn has been on my butt. We winning. I get to leave out better than what I came in. Like, I could get that animal off my butt now. But she's like waving bye-bye. She played well last night too.
Didn't she though? She was a problem. She was a problem for UConn last night. So Destiny Henderson, she's going pro. We know Boston eventually is going to go pro. The thing I want to
it was funny because I'm watching the highlights right now. She's actually she's doing really, really well. All right, she did really well last night. Actually, watching the highlights, it's actually kind of funny. You guys are talking about it right now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Destiny was was balling, and she's out. And what we're also seeing is more college female players leaving early to go to the WNBA as well, which we know that can be kind of risky for them because the WNBA doesn't quite have the salary that the NBA has. So, but we are seeing a lot of that. So, shout out to Dawn Staley and the women. I want you to talk about the hiring process and how it's changed since you first started getting into college coaching. I mean, you've been into college coaching now for over 2 decades.
Yeah.
And now how they go about hiring coaches, how they go about firing coaches. Talk to me a little bit about that process, because it used to be just go to the Final Four and everybody go down there and network and party.
Oh man, it's like totally different, Jay. I've been doing this for like 25 in college and stuff, and it's different. When I first got into business, Jay, you basically it's who you knew. If you knew an AD, you knew a coach, then you have a great opportunity. If you worked hard, they'll probably pull you in, and you could have an opportunity, or you at least be on the radar so you could get a job. But now it didn't change to everybody. Most coaches I picked, most ADs now are using search firms, which search firms is the way the athletic director, he tells them a list of candidates. The search firm has a list of candidates. Then the search firm calls you. Then you go meet with the respective institution that's calling you. But if you don't know a couple of search firms like Parker and Associates, DHR, which is based out of Chicago, guy by the name of Glenn Sugami, been doing it for a while. If you don't know a couple of search firms, Jay, their presidents, you're in trouble. You're in trouble because it's not like where you had the old football coach or the basketball coach. They was the AD. They actually had the opportunity to watch your body of work, and they knew you. Or like I call you AD. I've been knowing you for 20 years. It's different now. You have to know somebody that runs a search firm to help get your name out there. Because a lot of people.
Wait a minute. So let me ask you this. So, I'm going to ask questions that the average fan would ask. These people, these search firms, are they, what qualifies them to make some of these decisions? This sounds very interesting.
Let me tell you a little bit. See, search firms are picking presidents and they're picking athletic directors now. So that's how a lot of athletic directors get picked from search firms. Search firms basically are the middle people between the presidents, between the AD and the coaches and stuff like that. So they're entity where they talking to people all the time. They bring a couple candidates to the table, and that's how these jobs are being done now. Because, like I said, because the search firms are helping the ADs. So what you think the AD's gonna do in return? Hey, Jason, I need a basketball coach. You help me. I'm busy doing my fundraising. I'm doing everything else. Can you bring me a list of candidates? And I bring my list of candidates. But if you don't know a couple of search firms, you in trouble.
Now, see, now you're making me write stuff down, because now we got to get a guest on from one of these search firms.
I'll find this one. Both of us.
Yeah, let's get us a guest from one of these search firms, because I think this is very interesting, and I think the public, the fans should know about this kind of stuff, because like I said, it used to be you all go down and Final Four. People were hanging out at the bars and a lot of networking. That's how how many jobs did you get like that, Lance?
Man, I mean, you could talk to people. You seeing them at basketball tournaments. You could talk to people. You getting to meet them. I mean, you still have to network. But with that being said, though, you have to have a search firm in your Rolodex. You have to. If you don't have one in your Rolodex, man, you're going to get passed by some of the time. You have to at least have one. Like, I made it a mission to make sure I knew the search firm that was here in Chicago. Because people kept asking me, like, you don't know such and such, such, such? Huh? Man, Lance, you got to get to know search firm people. Okay. I got a chance to meet the search firm people. I know them and talk to them. So you have to talk to them, because for a while, Jay, I'm like, no, that's not how business is being done. But then I started paying attention how most presidents are being picked, most ADs being picked, coaches. I said, "Oh, okay. I see how this going. So you got to get to know the AD. I mean, the
Ooh, I
safety
bet you there is big money in this, man. We
coach.
always one step behind. That's why I be doing
See,
this show.
say what you just said. Say what you
We
just said.
always one step behind. That's what I'm saying. They always moving the damn goalposts, and they'll be like, "Well, we don't know why ain't no black people doing them because you change the rules again."
CJ, and if you're not savvy enough to understand and listen, you'll be left behind. That's why your cousin, my daughter, is going to sports administration. She's going to get an MBA next year. She's going to know how to play ball.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's how it is.
Okay, well, that's very
They
good. That's
just,
very good.
Jason, when DePaul picked their coach, they had a search firm. Louisville that just picked their coach, they had a search firm. Western Michigan used a search firm. SMU used a search firm for basketball. That's just a couple right there. I could go on and on
So
and
the
on.
search firms are the way to go. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
interesting. Let's talk about another topic which is huge
What's this,
now in
bud?
basketball. So the season is, almost at the end, but for most teams, it's over with. The transfer portal went bananas. Everybody and their mother is transferring schools all over the place. Some of the bigger names are Cabello, who's left Illinois. Our guy who we were trying to get on from Texas Tech, TJ, Shannon. Shannon is in the portal. Are we
Adam
getting
Miller.
ready to just see this now in all sports, football, basketball being the main ones now, where everyone can transfer pretty much every year and just move?
It's been happening for the last couple of years, but they came out with the rule last year, the year before, one-time transfer rule, where if you transfer one time, you eligible to play the next year. It used to be if you transferred, you had to sit out a year.
Sit out.
No. You don't have to sit out a year. You transfer one time, you immediately eligible to play. And also, if you graduate, you can transfer and you eligible to play. Like University of Miami.
That's what Charlie Moore did.
Miami had 3 6-year players. They graduated, and because of COVID, they graduated, so they had opportunity to play. Last year, when I checked in the portal, Jay, last year it was over like 1,500 players in the transfer portal.
1,500.
1,500 players in the transfer portal. It's not 1,500 scholarships. My man Derek Burns just said he heard Cabello might be going to St. John's, which I haven't heard that yet, but he's probably right. So it was over 1,500 players in the portal. I heard yesterday it's over 700 players in the portal already, and the season is not officially over. That's how some of these teams, Jason, are staying older. That's why it's more parity in college basketball. Because you have teams going into the portal, getting whole teams out of the portal. You have people leaving, like for instance, Kentucky girls, 4 of their starters are in the transfer portal. They started. Missouri women have 4 of their starters in the transfer portal. Like I said, Cabello is in the transfer portal. So the transfer portal, it can either help you or hurt you.
Well,
So
you heard about the LSU men's team.
they have 1 player left on their team. One player.
Team in the transfer portal.
One player.
Ivan, how does an entire team just be like, all right, we out, coach?
One player. So now he has signed, he has got, Jason, 2 more players out of the transfer portal. He had a young man transfer from Northwestern State and somebody else out of the transfer portal. And the thing is, sometimes I feel sorry for high school students because they get overlooked now because people saying, and you touched on a point earlier, the way they're firing people these days is crazy. See, it used to be when I first got in the business, Jay, they assigned you 4 or 5 years, mean you have 4 or 5 years. They'll let you see one of your recruiting classes through. Not due to the fact they're making so much money, they not even letting you do 3, 4 years. Like they just clipping you because there's so much TV money being made, so much football money coming in. they like they don't even give you a chance to see a whole cycle through anymore. They just like, okay, let's go find somebody else.
Well, when you lose your whole, the entire starter, like, I would imagine. How could any coach survive that, Lance? You know what I mean? Like, how could even if you had success, right? Even if you had success and this team was, if they ain't happy, it just seems like they could. I'm not saying it's a bad thing because I think it's if a player feels like they like if a player gets neglected or they feel neglected or a coach gets fired that they were connected to, I could see they're wanting to leave and wanting to play right away, and I think they deserve to play right away. Don't get me wrong. I don't like I never liked the you got to sit out a year type of rule for a player, but for coaches, like, how do you survive? How do you survive losing that many players? And then on top of that, like, I think Lance, you brought up a great point. High schoolers, now you're going to have people just flying all left and right. People are going to be paying attention more to the transfer portal than a lot of these high schoolers. So I think it's there's positives and negatives from it. I like it, but for coaches, it's got to be crazy, man.
I mean, that's why you have a lot of coaches, Jay, that's basically ran down. If you're not mentally and physically in shape, this stuff will weigh you down, because you have to make sure you're taking care of yourself, because you're not only recruiting, you're recruiting every day. Like Matt Doherty used to tell us that recruiting is like shaving. You have to do it every day. Not with the portal, you're shaving twice a day. Like that. You could lose. He lost his whole team. Now, what if you working for a school or an administration that doesn't have patience, doesn't understand what's going on,
or just don't like you?
Just don't like you. Like I tell people all the time. I told somebody last week, I said, it's the difference between a team and a program. If you want a team, you just want to win, win quick or whatever, fine. But if you want a program, it takes time. Think about if they would have fired Coach K after his 4th year, which they were talking about, but the AD didn't do it. Nowadays, it wouldn't be a Coach K because they would have fired him most places. So now 4 years doesn't mean 4 years. 5 years doesn't mean 5 years. They'll pay you your money and still send you on your way. Nobody has patience. Nobody is let me say not nobody, Jay. Very few people have.
But you know what, Lance? That's society now. That's society now. That's the instant gratification society we have now. That's not a general, we blame this generation a lot for it, but it's a whole lot of instant gratification going on. I'll tell you about in the referee industry, in the sports officiating industry that I'm in. We have people, and this is an absolute true story, and I'm just talking on the high school level. We have people who become a referee in their very first year, and they're upset because they're not getting the varsity game between Whitney Young and Kenwood. It's like, what? Are you like, you're going to be doing freshman A and B for 2 years. Like, what do you think? Oh, well, no, I'm here for the big games. I'm here for St. Rita and Mount Carmel. Yeah, they got freshman teams if that's what you're talking about. But we see that in the officiating industry, people who just think, okay, I'm certified now, I'm official. Give me, the top games. Like, no, that's not how this works. You have to actually learn the craft. You have to learn all the idiosyncrasies that go into this. It's not just learning the rules of the sport. It's how to manage a game. It's how do you conduct bench management? How do you be a professional? Hell, you don't even know how to get to all the schools yet. I can tell you, certain schools, if you get that 5 o'clock game, you better leave at 2 because traffic going to be a beast getting there. Exactly. So, it's that type of stuff. But I just think that's kind of like how our society is going, and we're really seeing it. So it's very interesting. That's why I wanted you to kind of talk about this hiring process and the firing process now, because I think it's very interesting. So, all right, it is time to get to, because we got about 4 minutes left in this special episode. It is time to get to our jump ball question tonight. I'm going to let you go first. And the jump ball question is very simple. The question is very simple. Who's going to win tonight's game? North Carolina or Kansas? Oh. Very, very simple game. Very simple question, which means we're going to complicate this thing in the last 3 minutes. So
you know what? See, you taking Carolina. See, you trying to copy off me. You trying to.
I didn't say I was taking Carolina. I said I'm pulling for Carolina. I didn't say I'm thinking they're going to win.
You're right. Okay.
So I'm going to let you break down. You go first. I'm just going to bring the clock up, and we will get started with jump ball.
First of all, my cousin Jason, he's going to take Kansas. I'm going to take the North Carolina Tar Heels because of this. Probably over like 40 years ago, a young man by the name of Michael Jeffrey Jordan hit a shot in North Carolina to win the national championship. So it's something to be said about North Carolina and New Orleans. I think North Carolina has a great backcourt, and they have multiple guys that could score. They have over 4 scores in double figures. You have Caleb Love, R.J. Davis, you have Leaky Black, and you have my man Baycott. I think if Carolina can control the paint like they have been doing all tournament long, they can have success. And a matchup between Obaji and Caleb Love, Baycott and McCormick, that's going to be huge. But when it comes down to it, R.J. Davis is going to lead the team.
All right. I'm going to make it real simple. I'm going to do a Lance Irvin. I'm going to go with the front runner. He picked Bob Baffert's horse in the Kentucky Derby last year because he said the man wins even though he cheats. So I'm going with the Lance Irvin philosophy. I think Kansas is going to win because I just think they got simply more talent. They 33-6 this year. That means they've been beating a whole lot of people. They've been beating good teams. They've been beating bad teams. I think Bill Self is a hell of a coach. I think he's a much better coach than Hubert Davis, who is still new into his game. I think the experience and the talent is just going to overwhelm North Carolina. We said it earlier in the show, North Carolina got hot at the right time. Well, tonight they're going to cool off because they're going up against a real strong Kansas team that is fully loaded, who really took the screws to Miami earlier in this tournament and just really showed what they can do when they want to play.
You know what? That wasn't bad. You actually might have tied me on this one today. It wasn't bad. Coaching, see, you got me with the coaching. Like, most people pick they pick Bill Self over Hubert Davis with the coaching matchup. But if it comes down to the point guard play, I think R.J. Davis is a little bit better than Harris at controlling the team. He's a better scorer. But with that being said, though, Hubert got that smile on his face. Hubert is like, hey Jay, let me tell you what Hubert's smile is saying. Hubert's smile is like, ooh, I done probably hit him up for about $400,000 worth of bonuses. Ooh, my bonus check is going. Hey, let me tell you a true story. I worked at Iowa State for Larry Eustace. Right before I got there, they had made the Final 8 right. Coach Eustace had a bonus check in his car he had in cash for over $400,000. I saw it. His bonus check.
Just rolling around in his car.
$432,000. Saw it. He used to use it to get me fired up. You see this? This is what we play for. You see this? This why we coach to go find some players.
Coach, you put a $432,000 check on me. You say, yeah, I saw it. You gotta take this thing to the bank. What's wrong with you?
Say, this is the F me check. I'm not gonna curse. I can't believe they paying me all this money, but I work hard for it. True story. I saw it. I was looking like Ivan. I was like, whoa.
Right.
True story.
I feel
about his bonuses.
I feel like Jason might have edged you out, but I think Jason edged you out when he mentioned Bob Baffert's horse. It's like the horse, even in death, that horse is still getting beat. Like, that's a horse that'll never die. Like, it's just.
I started laughing at that too.
That horse.
I started laughing at that too. I was like, oh, is he talking about Kansas and the investigation when you threw that out there? I was like, oh, okay.
Well, there you go, folks. I'm going with Kansas. Lance is going with North Carolina. It's going to be a good game. Fun times. The college basketball season coming to an end. Hey, next week, What are we talking? We're talking baseball and softball. The Major League Baseball season starts on Friday. College baseball season and college women's softball is already going. We've got Trina Peel from the University of Iowa coming on. We've got some public league baseball talk that we've been trying to get in. They keep getting rained out. So we got Coach Matt from Liberal is going to come on. So we're going to talk some baseball. We're going to talk some softball and the opportunities for people from our community in those two sports. So for our super producer, Ivan Vargas, my cousin Lance C. Irvin, I'm Jason Palmer. Everyone enjoy the men's national championship game, and we'll see at the end who's got the one shining moment sung by Luther Vandross. Is Luther singing the song, and then let somebody else do it?
Luther singing it, and the girls, the women mad because they don't have a one shining moment. Somebody talked about that earlier.
Yeah, we got to give them a song. They deserve a song too. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next Monday at 6 p.m. Peace.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise. High as the listening skies, let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, we will march on to victory. We will march on to victory. Let us march on to victory.